Buddy,
We're live. We're live.
I'm still halfway here.
All right. So I don't think we have anybody on yet, but we had some technical difficulties today. Our technical man, couldn't make it the last minute. And so Carol and I had to figure out how to get on. Not something we're great at, but here we are. So what do you want to talk about first? We don't have any.
I didn't have anything today.
Okay. I didn't have anything big either. One question we're always asked, I'm sure we'll be asked this 3 or 4 times, is the delay time and how long it's taking. We still do not have that information. We're still waiting for the BVA. As we said, we get to talk to them, I think, in 15 days now. Get to hear from both the regional, the director of benefits who sees all the regional offices, and then the BVA chairman. We're hoping they're going to give us timeframes on each of their sections. So that's kind of the big to-do on that.
And just a reminder again, if you have a legacy case, that's where you had an SOC or an SSOC and you filed a VA-9. Remember, for whatever reason, they are noting that you asked for a hearing in almost every one of those. So you should call and make sure that that's not what happened to you, because that could cause an enormous delay. They have on every single one of mine, they have noted we asked for a hearing, and we didn't ask for a hearing on any of them. So please make sure that you contact them. Then a lot of times when we tell them, we've sent them letters, we've told them, we're still noted as asking a hearing. So I don't really know what's going on, but if you filed a VA-9 and you've been waiting a while, you really should keep contacting them.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. We do have a couple questions. Fritz, what would you consider filing first if you were diagnosed with both sleep apnea or insomnia? I'd file both right away. It doesn't hurt you to file them both at the same time.
Because the insomnia could be related to depression or anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
The sleep apnea is something totally different. So you could get benefits for both of those separately.
Yeah. So definitely, but don't wait on one thing to file the other, especially when you think they're both related. Battle jurist. I have multiple issues, both primary and secondary. This is my first filing. Can you file them primary and secondary? Yes, you file everything you think is service related. On your application, I would not say this disability is secondary. I would just file everything. And then it's the VA's responsibility to then sort it out. Okay, sort out what's primary, what's secondary. They should be sending you to a C&P exam. That doctor should say he has diabetes. Secondary to that diabetes is neuropathy or glaucoma or something like that. So you filed multiple disabilities. All you wanted is service-connected, and you want the most shots at that apple as you can get. So don't put that down because you're not a doctor, and there could be a way that both of those are service-connected. Donna Morgan, what exactly does it mean when the claim says deferred, and how long can that take?
Deferred means that the person who's supposed to be making the decision feels they don't have enough evidence to make it right then. So often this means they're either going to send you out for another C&P exam, or they're going to ask whoever did the C&P exam to give them an opinion regarding whether or not it's service-connected or something specific like that. Sometimes it's only a couple of weeks, sometimes it's months, because you have to reset it and then get back to it again.
Yeah.
But that means no decision was made. They're still waiting to get a decision.
And it's usually C&P exams, but it could be records as well, or records from service, from your current medical providers. So it's not something to read too much into, and that you don't really know if it's good or bad until you get the decision, unfortunately. Right. AB, how long to request for permanent and total for 100? How to request, for permanent and total for 100%?
Well, the VA decides when they give you the 100% whether or not they think that you are permanent and total. In other words, if you're a young person, they are more likely to not give you permanent and total. And that means they keep reviewing on a regular basis this whatever the grant was that gave you 100%. Say you're in your 80s or 70s, they're more likely to give you permanent and total. Okay. Sometimes I've seen 30-year-olds give permanent and total. So you don't know, but the younger you are, the least likely you are to get it right away. And until they keep reevaluating you and seeing that nothing has changed.
I would say that if you have a decision where you just hit your 100% or even your unemployability, you can always appeal even send a letter saying, I want this to be permanent total. And hopefully you have evidence to back that up as far as, medical statements or something.
So if you send in medical evidence, then they probably will make another decision. But when I've done that, I've noted that it just sits there for a while, and then they send you back out for those C&P exams. So whenever when they set you up at 100%, but they don't give you permanent total, they're supposed to do a reminder to send you out again in a year, 18 months, 6 months, whatever. So I have found that even though, if you just send in the evidence, that may prompt them to do something, but a lot of times they're still going to wait until that time period is passed before they send you out again and make a decision.
Yeah. Okay, I think I saw John Yang. Just submitted my claim, had physical strain, sleep apnea, TBI, migraines, and mental health to include chronic PTSD, major depressive disorder, psychosis, and anxiety. Oh, John, I don't have my tech guy here today. So if you had another question, hopefully we get to it at the bottom. But if not, good luck.
But we'll look for that, the aquamarine J. Yeah.
Okay. Writing by Craig, how far can I go back? The rule is you can go back to the claim where you just, if it's initial filing, you can go back to then. If it's within a year of service, you can go all the way back to when you were discharged. Otherwise, it's the date you reopened your claim is the rule. There are exceptions to that. That's kind of something you really need to get your C file to see what was put in when, and that's how you can look at it. Those are cases we look for as far as how far you can go back, but we can never tell until you get the file. But the rule is when you reopen that claim. Benny Rose says, hi, Matt. They have requested a medical opinion. They have requested a medical opinion of my medical records. Okay. Benny, I'm thinking you're saying that a C&P exam. So if you want to send that in, we never get their, the request they make to you to come to see their C&P exam.
And that's what I tell all of my clients. For whatever reason, the VA takes the position that we have no right to know when you're sent out for a C&P exam. They won't talk to us. They never tell us. So I tell all of my clients, if you're set up for a C&P exam, you ask them, what is this for specifically? And then you call me. So that some things like a hearing test, I really don't have any advice to give, but some other things like PTSD, I definitely have advice to give before you go.
Right, orthopedic issue. Yeah, almost any issue. Okay, Alonzo, I am filing for TDIU. My last employer refused to fill out the form 214192. Do I file regardless, and can this hurt my case? Yes, you were filed regardless. I informed them that they will be sent one by the VA regardless. So, that's just a verification. It's almost just a procedural step to cross the T's, dot the I's. But
they're required to send it out. They wait 30 days. If they don't get it back, they send another request, 30 days, then they make a decision. What could really help you is to get your Social Security earnings record. That would show money that came in, and it would show when you stopped making money.
Right.
Okay, so that's the best proof of all.
Anthony Cheney, is it a good idea to obtain an IMO when filing an initial claim for sleep apnea secondary to PTSD? If the claim is still denied, should I then obtain a second IMO to refute the VA examiner? What I see there is a lot of money spent on your part. My strategy would be to send in the claim, let the VA deny it. The regional offices, I think I've seen 2 cases in the 15 years I've done this where the regional office actually got this right and granted it. So I would let them make the initial C&P exam, because even if you send in an amazing IME letter, they're still going to go get theirs. Okay, so let them get theirs first. Probably going to deny you. When they deny you, then get your doctor. Okay, so you had the last word, but you didn't have to spend twice the money.
And this gets your doctor a chance to say what the examiner didn't say. A lot of times those exams are so poor, and this gives them you're just a wonderful opportunity to say where this was really inadequate. Okay. But, not for sleep apnea, but for anything, I always tell my clients, go ahead and file, because the VA is other than sleep apnea, they're very strange. I mean, I've seen them give service connection when I thought they never would.
Right.
And deny stuff that I thought, this is so clear. How can they do this? So you're going to have to spend money if you have a number of claims. So let them service connect you on as many as they can before you start spending your money.
On an IMO. So that's our opinion, is that you wait, because they're going to do their C&P exam no matter what. Their C&P exam is going to be negative no matter what. I would say just wait to get that so your doctor can comment on it. Tap out, great channel, very informative.
Thank you.
What is the time frame for HLR? I'm not asking for a phone conference, just submitted a Word document stating my case. In theory, it should be pretty fast. It should be 3 months at the most.
I've seen them come back the next day, literally.
Yeah.
And I've seen them take a year and a half.
Yeah. If they defer issues saying, hey, this wasn't developed adequately, that could take a lot longer. But sometimes it does just sit there. I would say it's how complicated is the claim.
Exactly. And how many claims?
Yeah. So, all right. So let's see. The Flyer PR 40D. Hi, currently at 90 combo. I don't have sleep apnea service connected. I had one home sleep study done by a private doctor. Result came back with OSA and doctor prescribed CPAP. Can I take sleep? Let's see. This is a T. It's the same person. Okay. Can I take sleep study results to the VA sleep department and have the VA provide me with supplies and CMP exam? Since you are 90%, yes, you're in the top tier for medical care. There might be some kind of copay or something, but yes, they should give you that, and that should.
And then once it's in there, then you don't have to, when you're asking for service connection for sleep apnea, you don't have to prove that you have it. They don't have to send you out. It's just whether or not it's service connected.
But you're looking for healthcare benefits. And wait, you said another question. Or would I need to have study? They might have a study done at the VA. I mean, it's the VA, and frankly, they know how to waste money. If you have a quality study, they shouldn't, but they could still do that. I don't know. AOCS2. During BVA remand, the DRO granted one disability on 15 June 21, and I still have not gotten my decision letter with back pay. What's causing the long delay? So that's only 3 months.
No, but that's more than the 150.
Oh, it's the remand.
It was remanded, but they granted. Okay, so what happens sometimes is that they want to do the decision in one issue. In other words, they'll give you the grant, but then they want to make a decision on any other issues that are outstanding. Sometimes they've made a mistake and clicked yours as complete. So at this point, I would at least call the VA and ask them what's going on, or write a letter regarding the status.
So
July, August, September, that's 3 months.
Well, yeah, you're smacking around the mic. So here's the other thing that could be going on. You said that the decision was on June 21st. If this was a BVA remand, I imagine it goes back several years. If you have a retro that's greater than $25,000, then there has to be 3 signatories in the VA who look at it. So somebody who gets a retro and it's $5,000, the person who writes the opinion can put it out like that, okay? But if it's more than that, then 3 different people have to look at it. And I found that takes much longer because they're, it's on one person's desk for a while. They don't have any motivation to sign it. Then the next person, and then the next person. So that could be what's going on there.
Right.
All right, Phil Morgan. My appeals judge remanded the case for correction by RO, saying it should be in vet's favor. RO denied again. Less than 4 hours. In less than 4 hours. Okay, that seems pretty ridiculous, but you want to make sure if that's in the new system, the AMA system, that you appeal back to the board. If it's in the old system, then it should automatically go back.
So if you got an SSOC, it should automatically go back. If you got, something else, a regular decision.
Right, then it wouldn't automatically go back.
Then it wouldn't. That's how you tell the difference. But you may need additional evidence. Look at that and make sure that you don't need more, because, sometimes you feel like the judge was going to approve you, but the judge may really say, I need some more information on this. And now when it came back denied, the judge may just deny it as well. Or you may end up with a different judge.
Yeah.
So I would really look at it and make sure you have exactly what you need to prove. What's missing? Is it the nexus letter? Is it evidence of something that happened in service? I mean, what exactly is missing?
Okay, I filed a claim for MST, but haven't submitted my buddy letter. Have you seen claims granted without buddy letters? And how long does it take for them to decide on an MST case? Well,
you see all sorts of things. I mean, you do see, I have seen them granted without buddy letters, but it is very rare. Unless while you were in service, it was clearly shown, the MST. If that's clearly shown, then that's totally different. I don't think you need that buddy letter to win on the first time. But if it's not clearly shown that this is what happened in service while you were in service, those buddy letters are really important.
Yeah. I mean, there are times that it's conceded. They see a marker, you changed MOS, your performance went way down.
Ask for a transfer.
They ask for a transfer, or sometimes there's actually service treatment records. You had to go to the doctor, and it would be relevant to what happened. So there are situations that happen, but I agree with Carol that if you have a letter, there's no need not to send
Don't
it.
hold it back.
Yeah. Okay, John Yang, looks like we got your follow-up here. You had filed several claims, quite a few claims. Where did I see? Okay,
Right there.
John Yang. Okay, I have buddy letters from my coworker, my wife, battle buddy, and lifelong friend. I never went to sick call while on active duty, but have been using the VA for all medical stuff. Any more advice? So those letters you have are great. The fact that you did not go to, sick call, if you went, that would have been great, but who does go to sick call? Everybody's told not to, that you got to just toughen up. So I would submit all those letters. Any incidents you have, if you have a TBI, if you were in an IED, if you awarded any medals, if your service records show that you were in theater as far as in Iraq or Afghanistan, those can all help you. So I would look for that as well. But yeah, send in those letters.
Remember, the letters need to say, don't let them talk about what a great guy you are, or you deserve this, or
you could
anything.
be a great guy.
You could be a great guy, but what the VA is looking for is you didn't have the problem. They need to state, I knew you. How did they know you didn't have a problem before service? I grew up with him. We live next door to each other. He's my cousin, whatever. We grew up together, and he had no physical or mental problems before service. Right after service or during service, I noticed this, not necessarily what you told him or her, but what they noticed. You couldn't play football anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You were sad. You wanted to stay in your room all the time. You really need to make the letter concentrate on that, not on so many of the letters I see. I know the VA is disregarding because it just talks about what a great guy you are, or it talks about now. And now is way past when you got out of service. So it doesn't show that it happened in service. It just shows that it's going on now. So that's not going to show service connection for this. So look at the letter and make sure it proves what you want it to prove. Okay.
And I'd say with the battle buddy, obviously, if they saw what they saw in service, if they were in, an IED with you, or they were in a firefight with you, or they saw you fall off something, that's what you want them to concentrate on, is what they saw. And again, no emotions, just here are the facts. And
right.
Here's what I saw. They may not say, I think you should get benefits.
Yeah, don't say that.
Here's what happened. Damian Wallace, in 2004, I was diagnosed with PTSD. VA said they sent me a letter regarding the stressor letter I never got. I was diagnosed again recently, but I have to go to these 12 weeks classes. Should I file? Yes.
Yes.
File. Louis C. If VA denied my back issue 2011, but for no in-service record, but now have found info that gave me 0, can I claim Q?
Ooh, you can claim open claim.
Yeah, if they found records from service, then there's a regulation 38 CFR 3.156C, 38 CFR 3.156C.
You put open claim.
Well, you can do open claim, but I mean, if they associated, basically that regulation says that they associated new records, new service. Okay, if they associated service records of any type with your claim that had not priorly been associated with your C file, then they need to reopen that claim and go back to them. Okay?
So that means it goes all the way back to when you filed that prior claim.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to be fighting to get that 0 up.
Yeah. You want to make sure you get the correct rating. Okay, Sergeant King, I was denied Anemia claim. It's in my medical records. Did I say that right? Anemia. Oh, geez. So a couple things on that. If it was in your file and you currently have a diagnosis of that or some residual of that, then you should definitely fight. If it was in your file but you don't have a current diagnosis or there's no current problem, then you're not going to win. Okay. Great kind of corollary on that is people who are exposed to Agent Orange. We get folks, or asbestos. We get folks all the time who come to us and said, hey, I was exposed to Agent Orange. I want to have an Agent Orange claim. And we say, well, what's your disability? And they say, well, it was exposure to Agent Orange. That's not a current diagnosis, and that's not going to win. The other issue could be that they service connected you and just granted you a 0 rating because there's no current residuals from that.
Okay, so a case of mine that I just appealed, they gave my client a 0 for anemia, and he had had transfusions, several in the last couple of months, but they didn't have those records, or they didn't look at those records.
Right.
I'm not sure which. So if they're giving you a 0, look at the rating as to what it takes to get more than a 0 and see if that has happened to you. And if so, make sure those records are there. And in your appeal, say, I'm entitled to this rating because this is what happened to me. Attached are the medical records from wherever and the dates. Okay. Just because they gave you a 0 doesn't mean that that's correct at all. Okay.
And then again, this is the, I just put in the notes there a link to the actual rating code. Sorry, not to that specific one, but how they rate everyone. So you can just kind of go down and figure out where yours is in that. Highway, my BSO filed a sleep apnea claim 2 months ago. My decision letter is supposedly in the mail. 70% for PTSD. Will it make a difference in the decision if it's not secondary to PTSD?
My decision letter supposedly in the mail, 70% PTSD. If they say 70% PTSD, it sounds like they have service connected it. Usually the decision letter does it. If they're denying you, it just says no service connection for PTSD. Right. So I would think that they've approved it.
As far as the sleep apnea, I don't know that they would have, that doesn't speak to that. I don't think that says whether you're service connected or not. Again, unless you have a strong opinion, I don't think you're going to get service connected for the sleep apnea secondary to the PTSD. Not because it's not a legitimate claim, but just because the VA hates that case.
Yeah, but appeal it. You need a nexus letter. Appeal it because they will give it to you at the board.
Okay. Jessica Park, 100% for PTSD combat vet. Just got non-service connected for diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, IBS, bullet wound left leg. Should we appeal or wait until his...
The bullet wound in the left leg is not service connected? Is that what they said?
That's what it said. Should we appeal or wait until his doctor officially diagnosed by the doctor? Okay. So a couple things. Diabetes, clearly he was in combat. I don't know where though. If he was in combat in Vietnam, then that should be presumptively service connected. If he was in combat in the Gulf War, then the chronic fatigue syndrome and the IBS should be service connected. Presumptively, and that's 38 CFR 3.177, I believe. Sorry, I'm setting that up again. So that's a little strange. The bullet wound, that's about as big of a head scratcher as I could see. I mean, unless there's, I don't understand that you don't service connect a bullet wound if the man is in combat. So other than if they're saying there's no residuals, but that, you've got a through and through wound, you're going to get muscle injury on that. So that's bizarre. So you need an official diagnosis. If you don't have diagnoses for those issues, then yes, I would try to get one from a doctor. But even if he's in the Gulf and you have chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms or IBS symptoms with no diagnosis, those should be service connected, again, under the presumptive.
Well, Matt's looking that up. Just let me say, Matt and I differ on a few things. If you have PTSD, that can cause diabetes. There are medical articles online. So I would argue that even though you weren't in Vietnam, even though you may have only been in Iraq, which doesn't give you the presumption. So if you have PTSD, get those articles. But here's the 3 things that Matt's been telling you. In order to win, you've got to say something happened in service that's causing a diagnosis, a problem right now. You need all 3 things. So before you can file a claim, you should file a claim right away, but make sure you have a diagnosis so that you complete all 3. Okay. Point out what happened in the service, why they're service connected, and the diagnosis now.
Okay. I screwed up that reg. It's 38 CFR, and you guys don't even remember that part. 38 CFR 3.317. That is, that's the regulation that deals with everything with Gulf War. Okay. So I'm just assuming he was in the Gulf War. And so that's where we're going on that. But if he was in the Gulf War, and as Carol said, the rule is you have to have a diagnosis. The one exception area is if you were in the Gulf and you don't have a diagnosis and they can't determine where the problem came from. So that's what I was saying. If your husband had IBS, but you just can't get a diagnosis on that, well, then you should still win because he clearly has symptoms. So look at that regulation. So if he doesn't have a diagnosis for that, that's not the end of the world if he's in the golf. The bullet wound.
I don't know.
My God, we see, you guys always surprise us with questions and strange things, but that's just flat out bizarre that they would deny that. If they're saying he doesn't have a diagnosis, that's a crock of crap. He should still have some kind of scars at minimum. He should have muscle.
Does he have a combat badge or a badge
She
for?
said he was in combat.
I know, but what's the badge when you're injured?
Oh, Purple Heart.
Does he have a Purple Heart? I mean, any of these things will help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll step down off that one. 10 toes down. HLR office calls to set up informal conference, asking vet to leave voicemail on what day and time works for vet. HLR office does not acknowledge message vet left. I mean, that's them saying, hey, look, I phoned the vet didn't get back to me and I'm making the decision. That's
Typical.
Appeal. That's what I'd say. Battle jurist. So if you plug in all issues on the first application and the secondary issues aren't in your service record, do you then send it as a fully developed claim? Just send in all the issues. So send in the 526, the fully developed claim. Yeah, I mean, a fully developed claim implies that you have medical records to that effect. Just send them all in, all the issues, and the VA has to work them up by getting your medical records, by getting by getting you a CMP exam or something. Okay, you can tell the doctor maybe when you see the CMP exam, say, hey, my pain in my leg, radiculopathy, is related to my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know that I'd do that. I'd let the medical records and the doctor speak to that. CJB high, according to VA's MRIs, are not good evidence for radiculopathy. What is good evidence for radiculopathy?
Well, the MRIs, if there's stenosis, that certainly should be good evidence for radiculopathy. When you go into your doctor and you complain about it, that's good evidence. But when they go feel up and down your leg and feel if there's numbness or where you complain about pain in my foot or my leg gives way, that's good evidence to me. So all of those things should be able to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's not bad evidence. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know why they're saying it's.
Okay, 10 toes down. Any news or luck with new program for claims for accuracy requests, which replaced the 48-hour rule? We don't really get access to that as attorneys. VSOs have access to that, especially the VSOs who are in the building of the regional office. But the problem now is, just because you live in Florida doesn't mean St. Pete handles your claim. So
it could be anywhere in the country.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to that. Jason, had my CMP yesterday. Then she gave me other tests, which I failed. Like she said 4 words and she's talking and had me repeat what she said. And I couldn't remember what she said. So that's a memory test, a recent memory test. Is that what it's called? Current memory, recent memory.
For traumatic brain injury, probably.
Yeah. And so hopefully she noted that because that's significant if you can't remember those 4 words. Okay. Thoughts on Larson obesity case won by Attic, Curran, and Steele. First, let me put in Chris Attic is a good friend of ours. Mm-hmm. He handles all of our appeals to the Veterans Court. We decided long ago that we're very good. We win, frankly, all our cases at the regional office and the BVA. But any case that goes to the court, we want an attorney who focuses just on the court, and that's Chris and his firm. So putting that aside. I have not had an obesity case basically showing that obesity caused a disability. They don't have a rating for obesity itself, but but the obesity should cause all the secondary conditions, the heart, the diabetes, liver problems. So we haven't won a case on that, but I think it's
great. They're very, very, very hard on that. I think they're harder on that than anything I can think of.
They hate.
So even though there's a case out there, I can tell you the regional office I can't see them rolling over on this.
Yeah, that's a case you're gonna have to take to the board. But the important thing there is the obesity, but you need to show what the obesity caused, okay? Mm-hmm. Because they're not going to give you a rating for the obesity, and ultimately a rating gets you compensation, and that's why you're applying in the first place. Mm-hmm. Tap out, HLR, higher level review, follow-up question. It was only one issue of sleep apnea secondary to PTSD submitted on the beginning of this month. So again, as Carol said,
go to the board. You're not going to.
I think they're asking how long.
Oh, how long
would it take? I mean, if it's one issue and you did not ask for a hearing, which I think you said, Again,
I would
she's
say
seen him in
within a month or
days.
two,
Yeah,
at
but
the most.
I'd say 3 months, but
At the most, yeah.
okay.
Unless, well, you couldn't send in new evidence to HLR. So
10 toes down, should the HLRs for MST be held in the DROC or in the newly created specialized centers for MST claims? I think the HLRs are still held in the DROC. I mean, my understanding is the MST claim would first go to that regional office or unit that they created, and you get your initial decision there, and then you go to the HLR. But
this is all new.
I haven't seen any procedural guidance on that. Okay, Sergeant King, should we record our CMP exams? What do you think about that?
I'd love for you to.
I don't know,
but I don't know legally if you're able to do that unless you get their permission. I've had veterans take their phone in and record it, and I say you really should ask. And every time they asked, they said no.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's your medical exam, so it's not like you're taking any sensitive information from the doctor. I think it would be considered a hostile act by the doctor, saying, oh my gosh, this guy's coming in and he's trying to do this.
But you can say, I don't remember very well, and this is going to help me remember what happened. But we don't do criminal law, but I thought that there was a law that you can't record somebody without their permission. Oh. I don't know. I don't do that, but I know that I've heard of that before. So I don't want you to get in any trouble.
I would say, though, right as you get out of the exam, you sit down in your car, the waiting room, and you write down everything you remember, especially the things that you thought were red flags.
Yeah, if they didn't evaluate, I have veterans that they go in for physical exams about their back or their legs. The examiner never touches them, sits across from them at a desk. If that happened and you get an exam that says he could bend his back over this far, he could bend his leg, that's fraud. And you need to let not only the VA know about your claim, but you need to know the regional office that this doctor is fraudulent, because that's happening too many times.
Yeah, that's a great point. If it's a physical exam, orthopedic, skin, something, muscular, you need to go in thinking you should be touched. And if you're not touched, that's problematic.
Yeah.
Okay, how long will it take for a deferred claim reworking a CMP exam? VA just got the report back. How long will it take them for a decision? I mean, I'd like to think that it's pretty quick since they had previously made a decision. But I don't know off the top of my head.
Something's happening, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago or last week. I have a case. These are LHI cases. Remember, there are 3 entities that do the VA exams, and one is LHI. And I have had a number of cases where they keep sending the veteran back for the same exam.
LHI is the CMP company.
Is the CMP company. They keep sending them back so that this person will end up with, I don't know how many exams, and it's taking forever. And it's not just one veteran. I've had a number of veterans. This is not happening with QTC or VES, but it is happening with LHI. So I don't know whether they're getting pickier about their exams, whether their exams aren't done right. I don't know what's happened, but I'm seeing a lot of that. So you don't really know how long it's going to take.
But if it's whatever was wrong was cured in this exam, hopefully it should take a month, maybe a little more. Darstern, quick question regarding presumptive service connection for Gulf War vets. I had issues with my stomach, but never said anything as it's embarrassing. What do I need to do to get service connected from the VA? So if your issues with your stomach are IBS, that's an automatic presumptive grant. Okay. If your issues with your stomach are something like IBS or something like ulcerative colitis or some problem with your lower intestine, frankly, any problem in your stomach, and there's no diagnosis, that also should be service connected, because that's a undiagnosed illness that under the Gulf War presumption, again, that's 38 CFR 3.317, that should qualify. So you need to apply and let them do a CMP exam and see what they come up with. So
apply right away, and then make sure if you're going to the VA, you're a doctor, you're going to them complaining about what's going on with you. Okay, so that if you're just seen by the compensation and pension doctor, they may say, well, he didn't say he had any real problems. You don't know what they're going to say. So you at least want to have your medical records showing that you're complaining about this.
Okay. John Yang, thank you guys for the advice. You're welcome. Hope it helps, and good luck.
Click like. Are we Fred always tells me, please click like.
I think it's subscribe, but yeah.
Okay, subscribe.
10 toes down. In close collaboration with VSO partners, Veterans Benefit Administration is pleased to announce a new pilot called Claims Accuracy Request.
Thank you.
This pilot will allow accredited representatives the opportunity to request an expeditious review and determination of a claim for disability benefits in accordance with Appeals Modernization Act. That's great. We have not seen that yet. A lot of times the decisions we get are a new case, and we have nothing to go on other than just the decision. And so, we can't swoop in and ask them to review it unless it's egregious, because we don't have a file, we don't have any outside medical evidence, and we typically have to gather all that before we can make a succinct argument. So, but that's really great to hear. Thank you, Gentos. Mario Williams, I submitted a claim for SMCL, aid in attendance, and it was granted. The evidence I submitted shows I also have loss of use of both hands from my service-connected disability. Should I have been granted SMCL and M?
Yes.
Well,
more than L for sure.
I mean, M, definitely M. But if the aid in the attendance is for something other than your hands, then you actually should be up to SMCR. Okay. If it's for your hands, which probably is, then you should be at SMCM at least. Okay.
So definitely you want to pursue that.
Yeah.
That's
but
big.
If you can show, if you have other disabilities and you can show that those other disabilities cause the need for aid in attendance, PTSD can do that. If you have some kind of memory problem, or you have, other orthopedic problems that cause to where you need help getting around, you want to get aid in attendance for that, because then that boosts you up with those two together up to R1 at least, which is $8,000 a month. Something.
Right.
It's probably more than that now. It's a lot. But M at the least. Michael Stout had a VES CMP exam for Gulf War syndrome and home sleep study. Got a diagnosis of severe sleep apnea. Should I file for this, or will it be automatic since sleep disorder? You should file.
Well, that's the problem. Are they going to take sleep disorder as insomnia, or are they going to take it as sleep apnea? I would do a clarification. I filed a claim for sleep disorder. I want to clarify that it covers sleep apnea, and if it's something else, let them know. I definitely make sure they know what you're asking for.
The sleep apnea will not be granted under the presumption. You're going to need to fight for that. Okay, but the insomnia, as Carol said, that should be granted unless they can attribute it to some other source. J, involved in a serious motor vehicle accident while on duty, hit and run. I have medical records from the accident. I was diagnosed with a mental disorder after service. Filed for unspecified mental disorder, but was denied. Should I file for PTSD? No, you should appeal. Okay. I like the fact that you didn't specify a mental disorder. If you were hit or something happened in service, like an accident, that's pretty darn serious, and that can leave you with problems. So you need to appeal that and show what the diagnosis is. And if they give you a diagnosis of depression, they also need to say why it isn't related to that. Okay, and they see depression is related to prior to service, or depression is currently related to financial problems now, or something like that. But you're looking to get it related just to that, and you don't care what they call
acquired psychiatric disorder. So, but remember, there's another thing. TBI is not acquired psychiatric disorder. So you want to make sure, if you're having traumatic brain injury along with depression, that you get benefits for both of those. Okay. So I don't know really what's going on, but you have depression, you had a brain injury. If you have problems with memory, that's traumatic brain disorder. So make sure whatever you have, you're clear about all the different things that you're applying for.
10 toes down. Other vets have experienced what Ms. Ponton mentioned last week about multiple LHI exams. It's on Reddit. Thanks for letting us know. Sometimes we feel like we live in a bubble, but
yes,
it's good to know. Well, it's not good to know.
And remember, if you're having that problem, I don't know who picked LHI, VES, and QTC to be able to do these.
That's political.
That's all political. And I don't know why LHI is getting so much of these. That's political. But if they're not doing a good job, then every veteran needs to let their congressman know, because it's political. And we don't want LHI to end up with all the C&P exams. That could happen. And if they're doing a bad job already with just part of them, that's going to make it awful. So if you have an LHI exam or any exam that's not good, you need to not only tell the VA, but you need to tell your congressman. They need to have some feedback on how these companies are doing. They're paying them a lot of money. And if they're not doing the job right, they need to know.
Millions and millions of dollars.
More than millions, I'll bet.
You're probably right. Okay. Ivan Borden, I have IMO stating doctor cannot agree or deny that injury related to pelvic fracture or service. Currently have plantar fasciitis. This I had claimed for hip pain, knee, and ankle. Hip impingement, only GR, only granted, I imagine. Let's see if we have a follow-up with him.
It would be green.
Let's see, we don't have. If you could give us, I think you had a question in there that we missed. Ivan, if you could go with that. But if the IMO says I cannot agree or deny the injury is related, if that's IMO, meaning you got paid for that opinion,
I don't know that that's going to help you.
No, I'd say agree or deny. You want them at least to say
it's as likely as not.
Because agree or deny does not sound helpful. Michaela, just dropping in. Thank you for helping. We're hoping we are. We're hoping you guys are winning some benefits off this. Annette Baker, I received a COVID vaccine and have severe side effects. Can I place a claim? I also work for the VA, but Workman's Comp denied my claim. I'm a vet.
I think that's more of a workers' comp.
Yeah, if you were in service and you did, you definitely could, but
it would be a federal workers' comp.
Yeah, that's true. So not from VA unless you were in service. Or unless you could say, that'd be interesting. Let's say she was in a priority group because she had bad diabetes or a heart condition and she had
I think, yeah.
That might be one. Because of a service-connected condition, you had to get it quickly. I don't know. I just made that up.
Remember, it has to be a lasting problem. It can't be that you were out for a while. It has to be causing an ongoing problem that's severe enough so you can tell the difference before and now. Okay.
Yeah. V. Sneed claimed ADHD secondary to PTSD. Recent ADHD diagnosis, but noticed impulsivity changes in records, including Article 15 and LORs after partner violence. Okay. That sounds more like PTSD symptoms to me.
Yeah.
And so what I would look to do is max out your PTSD rating on that 70% at minimum from what you're saying, if not 100% or unemployability. Richard, I suffered from general anxiety disorder, PAD, and PDD. I have been at my job for 20 years and am eligible to retire at 51. I don't want to go, but my disorders prevent me from being productive at work. Can I retire? Well, I think we got two different questions here. One, can you retire? Yes. Two, are any of those mental health conditions service connected? I would look to get those service connected first. And if once you do that, it sounds like they're significant enough to keep you from maintaining that job. Obviously, you can get a job and you can probably work at some, but if it's impeding you from really getting and working every day and having a solid focus, then I would definitely look to retire and claim at least unemployability or 100%. But you need to make sure that's service connected first.
And I had a really good friend who was working. I think he was 60, and he had a number of claims. He's a Vietnam vet. And I said, you need to file a claim now. And he says, why? I don't want to do that until I finish working. I'm doing, I can still work. And I said, you don't know how long the VA is going to take. And he didn't. And it took 6 or 7 years to get him all the benefits he was entitled to. So please don't not file because you're going to wait until you retire, because you want this money coming in when you retire. I mean, if you want to get the service connected established, and you want to get a basic rating for what you're going through now. And then if it keeps you from working, then you can up it. But don't start. I mean, it's really hard. The VA can take forever. So please don't wait.
I mean, I think regardless of the retiring, the unemployability, you need to look at it this way. You represented our country. You were in our service. Okay. You are entitled to benefits. So if these problems resulted from your service, whether you're retiring or not, you should be getting compensated for them now.
Exactly.
Now, the extent to which, or the rating, that would change maybe. But right now, you need to get paid for these. That's what I'd say. Okay, Isaac Andrews, a difference of opinion for HLR is the same in veterans' favor. Okay, Joe, do post-deployment screenings?
No, it's not. Difference of opinion. I have gotten several denials from the HLR that specifically said difference of opinion and then denied them. So,
meaning they took away the benefits, or they?
well, they were still deciding whether they were going to give the benefits. It's HLR, and it says difference of opinion, and they ended up denying in each one of those cases.
Well, so they'll say difference of opinion on a favorable fact, like the lower adjudicator did not find a diagnosis, and they'll say there's a difference of opinion. We found a diagnosis.
So just because they have that wording in there, that's not necessarily going to approve your case. Could.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, do post-deployment screenings have any merit when it comes to getting medical issues service-connected?
Yes, usually in a very negative way. A lot of these people who do the post-deployments, they'll just go right through, no problem, no problem, no problem. And the VA uses that against them when they go and file a claim. So if you've been smart enough to correctly put down what's going on, that's very good for your claim. It's not an automatic, but it gives you a real basis for showing this is what was going on with me. And if you have friends, please tell them, don't do that. I mean, I see that all the time. I think they're encouraged just to say, no problem, no problem, no problem.
Right. William Curry, why is it taking so long at the BVA? The answer I would give is that under this new program, the VA didn't appreciate how all the work is being funneled to the BVA because the raters, the regional office, are so horrible. They screw up they deny, they screw up the rating, they screw up the effective date. And so everybody's going to the board. And so they don't have the manpower that they thought they were going to need because they thought they were not going to get as many claims. So that's what I think is going on. Again, as we've said, we should know more by the end of the month when we hear from them.
So when they set up the new system, the AMA, they decided, okay, supplemental claims, new claims, we feel that so many people are going to be needed to process this. But then we feel like everybody's going to go to HLR. They're not going to go to the board. They're going to go to HLR, which is not happening. People are realizing I'm not getting anywhere at the HLR, so I'm going directly to the board. So the board has been slammed with all of these appeals.
And they don't have the resources.
No, they don't. And so the people that do HLRs, I don't know why they're behind it all because, they've got a big budget.
Okay, Deja, I have been receiving VA benefits since 14, 50% for disc degenerative disease, filed a claim last year and was awarded 10% increase. Now my check is being held from an overpayment in 2013. If they overpaid you, then they do have to go back and do that. If they didn't, you need to let them know. Your only other option is to say, I want you to waive this debt, and you typically have to show some kind of financial reason for that.
Financial reason, and it wasn't your fault.
Yeah,
they approved me. I thought this was correct. I mean, how do I know?
Yeah. Lamar, wife reserve dealing with injuries. Can she go on sick call and get seen for everything, also for things that occurred in the past during boot camp?
Wife is in the reserves, I guess. She's dealing with injuries. Can she go? She certainly should go to sick call and get seen for everything and talk about and I would talk about exactly when it happened and the problems they're having and get a copy of those records. Okay.
I agree.
That's the hardest thing sometimes, finding reserve medical records.
Michael, 90-91, served on ground combat, HLR for lymphoma, open due to failure to assist. Given till September 8th to assist with record retrieval from treating MD, denied August 8th. Okay, let's see. Oh, here he is. 2 Nexus letters from MD Anderson and Ireland Cancer Service. Let's see. Is that
it right there?
Okay. Is BVA appeal an option? Yes. 4 years. I can't tell you. 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Or if you have this disease and you are very ill, you could ask for a motion to advance on the docket because of your illness. But remember, if you have letters from those doctors, they need to say, I have reviewed your claim file. Okay? Yeah. If they don't, then a lot of times the VA will just deny you and ignore that, even the BVA. So I would make sure that they have a copy of your claim file, and really there's probably nothing in it that they really need to see, but they have reviewed it.
Right.
Okay. Don't give the VA a chance to deny based on that.
Yeah, and they also need to say it's as likely as not, or it's at least likely not that one's related to the other, and then why. That's the huge thing. It's why. The studies show that this can be caused there. The studies show, if you don't have
Patch
a family
a study.
problem.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure they say that. These are the kind of cases we handle because the VA screws them up so much. Lymphoma is not a presumptive service connection for the Gulf, so they're just going to write it off completely. So you need to make sure your doctors are pretty tight in what they've said.
Because remember, once you go to the BVA, if they deny you, you have to start all over again. And if you go to the court, then you're stuck with the evidence that's in the file. If you didn't have enough evidence, you're going to lose.
Yeah. I developed a tooth cavity shortly after I joined the Army. A filling was completed. The filling has worn out and came off after leaving service. My claim for a teeth situation is now denied. I would think they would say it's denied because it's no permanent disability. We don't really deal with dental claims, so I'm not an expert there.
I just know if you get 100%, then it's covered. They have to take care of it. In fact, a lot of times they'll take care of the dental if you have a high rating.
Annette Baker, can you send 2 different claims at different times? Yes.
Yes.
Isaac Andrews, VA denied my higher level review, reopened, and informed me to apply for TDIU. I'm trying to figure this out. They must have denied underlying issues under the HLR. So you can appeal those if you want to the board, but if they're saying to apply for TDIU, I would go ahead and do that. Here's the key. I would appeal those underlying issues for this reason, because the TDIU should go to whenever you applied for those issues. Okay. So even though you're applying for the issues now, they should go all the way back to when you applied before, if it was a year ago, 6 months before. So you're getting all those benefits.
So don't forget the ones that were denied and just do the IU. Do both.
Yeah, do both. Christine Rodriguez, I have 60% combined for both shoulders, rotator cuff tear, painful limited motion. Haven't worked since getting out of the Navy. Could I qualify for TDIU? Yes, 60% combined for those issues. They're all orthopedic. So yes, you can find on the right away. John Gold, FYI, I received decision from BVA in July, but a month later, I had not physically received the decision in the mail. I called the VA helpline and they secure emailed me the decision. Hope this helps. That's great to see. Glad they're
finally doing that. That's great.
James Sellers, I was service-connected for hypertension in 96 and diagnosed with diabetes in 17. Can I submit a claim for diabetes secondary to hypertension?
Yep.
I agree. Remy 86, I'm filing for service-connected PTSD due to my sergeant threatening to throw me over something. Linnea. I got Article 15 for not obeying his orders. After that, will my Article 15 be enough to get me service connected? Your Article 15 will be enough to show that something happened in service. Okay, so there's a marker, there's an event in service. Your story can be wrapped around that.
Oh, throw me over the lanai.
What's the lanai?
It's a porch. It's a threatening over.
Sorry, guys. My vocabulary is not that great. So yes, that counts as something happened in service. But again, remember, you still have to have a current diagnosis, and then you have to have a doctor linking one to the other. Okay. Their CMP doctor hopefully will do that, but if they don't, you need to have your doctor or an outside doctor do so.
And if you have witnesses or anybody that can testify, get a statement from them. Exactly what happened.
Lanai. I'm going to write that one down and memorize that. Oh boy. Ralph, hello. I had my CMP exams on 8/31, PTSD, MST, and 9/1 for tinnitus. The VA still didn't get my PTSD file, but doctor gave me an unsigned copy via email. So my anxiety could be relieved. Can I send this to the VA? Yes, you can. I mean, you're doing their job for them, but yes, you can send that. And if they want a signed copy, they can go get it, but they know it exists.
Right.
That they can no longer deny. Scott Main, can knee with instability cause secondary issues with intractable back pain, L4 through 5?
Yep. Absolutely.
Miss Stephanie, hello, I have my CMP for increased PTSD just a week ago, and they already gave me a decision. Could you tell me why it's such fast turnaround these days?
It's not necessarily.
It's not necessarily, but I'd ask if it was positive or negative. If it was positive, that's great. If it was negative, we see that all the time. We see it. Okay, we got the exam, we got the records, boom, denial.
I know. I'll see favor.
Or not the rating, right? Not like they lowball the rating a lot.
Yeah, you'll see all these favorable CMP exams sitting there. And if there's unfavorable, decision goes out almost right away.
Right. So that By the time we get the case, there's already been a denial in the case. And I found that once a case is denied, everything slows down. Okay. They take a lot more time.
I think there's a mandate to decide new claims within a certain amount of
Yeah.
time from Congress. And so that's what they're doing.
So that's probably what happened.
They don't have a mandate on the other.
Yeah. Robbie, is radiculopathy of the arm rated separately from the legs with
Yes.
the rated back condition? Yep.
Well, the radiculopathy from the arm doesn't come from the back. It comes from the neck
Right.
or the shoulder.
Blue skies for Eve. Question: 4 of my friends sent in buddy statements to Janesville directly. How can I see what they wrote? I called the 800 number, and all the man told me is the date the letters were received.
Write the VA and ask for a copy
Can
of
they
it.
get them on e-benefits? Can you see evidence on e-benefits or just awards?
I don't know what they can see.
Yeah.
We can see on ours. We can see all the evidence that's been put in, and we can download it now.
But yeah, or write your friends. Hopefully they would give you a copy as well. Michaela, just had my CMP exam for menieres disease today. So hard to read what the doctors are going to do. Should I try to get a DBQ from my ENT? Is it too late? I would get the DBQ from the ENT and ask them to review what the CMP doctor said. That's your strongest. As far as it being too late or not, as Carol said, they could turn it around like that, or they could, take longer. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, that's anybody's guess, I guess I would say. Okay. Oh, we got a lot going on here. Okay, these got asked like 5 times. Dustin S. While I was in the military, I got a night guard for grinding teeth. They denied it for my claim. What do you think? Why do you think they denied it? If it's in your records, boom, you got that. Now do you have a diagnosis of
Bruxism.
TMJ or something? Yeah. So
Do you currently have a diagnosis? I make sure that that's in the file.
okay. Sergeant King, I'm in Georgia. One side consent for recording. So this is the one who's going to record. Hey,
good for you.
You
Go
let
for
us
it.
know. We're not giving any advice on this, but we'd love to know how it turns out
Yeah.
and what you get. Because, that'd be interesting. Okay. Circled LD. This is an update on the Gulf War particulate matter presumptive claims. Is there for previous denied sinusitis claim? Yes, they put these regs
Sinusitis,
out.
rhinitis, and asthma.
They put the regs out, but they're still in, what do they call them? Comment mode. So they haven't finalized them yet. Hopefully when those are finalized, I would put in a claim now.
Put in a claim
When
now.
those are finalized, hopefully that gets through.
If you
quickly.
think, should I put in a claim? Put in a claim.
Yeah.
That's you lose nothing by putting in a claim.
That's going to be Carol's refrain. Think put in a claim, you put in a claim. All right, Barry Graham. I already had a PTSD and VA recording going into a CMP exam for secondary, I guess, tinnitus depression. What should I expect? You can have more than one mental health condition. Okay, so if you have PTSD and you have a depression secondary to tinnitus, that you can have that. You can also have anxiety.
But they're only going to pay you for the higher. So you want to make sure that it all lumps together. Okay, so that you can get 100%. You don't want 50 for one and 50 for another, because you're only going to get paid at 50%.
Right. Low key, I have an upcoming schedule for reevaluation for my depression and anxiety. I have not gotten a letter as to when exactly it is, but is it normal for VA to say that they think I might improve because of age? It's normal for the VA to say we think you improve and that's why we're sending an exam, but because of age, giving you a specific reason is frankly kind of
I've never seen that because of age.
Can you get TDIU for sleep apnea? You can get TDIU for anything that keeps you from working.
Mm-hmm.
Dort C, I claimed 8-foot condition from a scar 2-year treatment and was denied because the scar was made from plantar wart removal. 8 feet conditions, maybe? I don't know.
A foot condition from a scar to your treatment and was denied because the scar was made from plantar wart removal. Well, the scar was the wart removed in service. Was the plantar wart caused by service? I'm not really sure. Those are the questions you need to have the answer to.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Sleep apnea, just let me say, you can get 100% scheduler rating for sleep apnea.
Yeah.
50%, 80%, or 100%. So, it just depends on how bad the sleep apnea is.
Okay, darn sure. Click the like and subscribe button for more awesome content. Thank you for the great support. Yes, thank you. We got our buttons wrong, but that would be great. Robbie, I think you've kind of hit this several times here, but is radiculopathy of the arms separate from the legs?
Yes.
We talked about that prior. Mario Williams, I submitted a claim for SMCL in attendance and was granted. The evidence I submitted, I don't know why we're getting all these same things. The evidence I submitted also showed that loss of use of hands. We already covered that. For some reason, we're getting the things giving us duplicative. Porfirio Espada, after you have been approved for your disability, how retroactive, how long would it take for you to get your money? Okay, so again, the rule is it should go back to the date you claimed on this on this current claim. Okay, that's the rule. There are exceptions that it can go back farther, but that's the hard rule. Okay.
How long should it take me? What I do is I track in VBMS when they give the rating decision and when they get paid. So the oldest one I have now is July 26th of a rating decision that they haven't paid yet. Okay. So it can take a while. If it's like Matt says, if it's $5,000 or something, it's going to go out right away. But if it's more than that, it's going to take longer. But if it's much longer than July 26th going back, then I call the VA about what's going on. Sometimes what happens is the person working it up, instead of clicking so it goes to somebody to finalize the award, they close the case out. I've had this happen a number of times. So you need to make sure that hasn't happened to you. The thing that I'm seeing about the onset dates, if you've appealed up, say you had a claim, you've been appealing it for years, it goes up to the board sends it back and grants it. I had one the other day, the guy had started the appeal, he started the claim in 2012. The board finally granted it this year. It goes back to the VA and the VA gives him benefits effective 2018. So remember, they owe you back to when you started this claim if you've continuously appealed. And I've seen a lot of that. So make sure that you're getting the benefits starting when they should.
Derek M., do you guys help with SSDI? No, we closed down our Social Security section after 30 years, and we basically decided that we are going to pool all our resources to do VA benefits because we've just been so overwhelmed with VA cases that, there's bunches of people who do Social Security. There's not many people who do VA claims well. So we made a big decision on that actually earlier this year. Robert Hutchins, first disability claim denied in 82, then a few years ago approved. Now they say they have no file since 2003 after asking for C file. That's suspicious. I'd ask go right to the St. Louis?
I'd go to St. Louis and ask them if they have a copy of it. But like Matt said, they're way behind because they weren't able to do anything during COVID. People are all out of the office.
Okay, let's see here. We're running long on time here, so let's do a couple more. Ralph, hi H&P. Had my first C&P exams on 8/31 and MST on 9/1.
And we've done that one.
Oh, we've done that one.
I don't know why we're getting the same ones over.
It's flying over again. Jason Matthew filed supplemental on August 23rd. Still states we don't know the status of your claim. How long does this normally take? Again, it could take. Carol's seen him in a couple of days. I usually see him in 3 or 4 months. Kim, new studies link PFASs except in miscarriages. I have had 3, one causing scar tissue in my uterus. I'm diagnosed by the VA with adjustment disorder and anxiety. I was stationed in affected base for 6 years. So I would apply, this is complicated, but I would apply for the exposure.
Yeah.
And there are maps out there. Frankly, we have a map on Hill and Ponton of all the exposed bases and when they were exposed and what was there. But I would apply and say that we had this, you were exposed to this and it caused, this exposure can cause miscarriages. The miscarriage itself is not going to be something that's rated. The scars, yes. But then the bigger thing here is the mental health disorder. Okay. So you want to say, because of the 3 miscarriages, I have this mental health disorder. Because of the exposure, I had the miscarriages. So a little more complicated. Well,
if she can show she can't have children, that could be.
But I don't know what they'd rate that under. Oh, she lost the use of organ.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Kim. That's a tough position to be in. But I would definitely.
I would too.
That case. Okay, RG, Mr. Hill, why don't they expedite all claims then? if they are able to, I mean, thoughts?
They aren't able to expedite the ones they've expedited. I was looking at the BVA the other day, and I don't know how many cases that they have agreed to advance on the docket. That's what they call it at the BVA. And they can't get to them. I mean, and the same with expediting at the regional office is ridiculous.
No.
You have to be homeless. They've cut off your lights. You're terminal, so you're in hospice, or you're over 85 or over.
Yeah.
At the board, if you're 75 or over, they will advance it on the docket. But the VA at the regional office just takes a very hard position because they're so far behind on everything.
Okay, just a couple more here. If VA, this is Mr. B. If VA doctor said I cannot work because of my TBI, what would my rating be? I don't know what the TBI rating would be there, but your overall rating, if you win, would be unemployability, which is basically they pay you at 100%. Let's see if I can find a couple other folks we haven't spoken to. Michael Finn, I have 60% on my hands for rheumatoid arthritis. Should I apply for SMC? If so, what kind?
Loss of use of hands.
If you have 60% for each hand, that's pretty bad. And so you've got to show, can you manipulate your hands? Can you use them as you normally would, or are you making, I'll see that say, yeah, I can write, not like this anymore, but the writing like this, that is loss of use of hands to me. So
IU, if you're not working, loss of use of hands, aid in attendance, you should think about filing for all of those things.
Yeah. Kim, can you proactively request that VES not perform your C&P exam?
You'd have to have a reason.
Yeah.
If you've had VES and they've had problems, then you can actively do that. You need to tell the VA, I will not go to one with VES because this is what happened to me in the past.
Okay, we'll do, let's see, one more.
The lucky winner is...
It's going to be Glenda Garza. Hello, Matthew and Carol. You are awesome. Could you explain
Thank you.
Residuals?
Ooh. Oh, that's there.
That's not a quick one.
Yeah, that covers a lot of ground. So say you had cancer of the bladder and you're in remission, so you're not taking any medication. What are the residuals from that cancer? Did you have radiation that caused scars that is causing you pain? Do you have an inability to control your urine so that you're incontinent or you have to wear pads? That's just an example of residual from one thing. So what you need to do is whatever happened to you, if that is gone, but it has caused these lasting problems, those are the things you need to detail. Any that come to mind quickly?
Well, the thing where I see this most applicable is cancer.
Yeah.
Cancer itself is rated, if you're in active treatment, radiculopathy, what do you call it? Not steroids, chemotherapy, you're rated 100%. If you do not have those, the cancer itself is rated at 0.
Right.
Okay. So piggybacking on what Carol says, a lot of times we see prostate cancer. We'll get service-connected prostate cancer, it'll be 100%, then it'll go into remission, it'll go down to 0. Well, they'll still have problems, urinary frequency, the need for pads.
Erectile dysfunction, that's an SMCK.
And so those are
depression.
Yeah.
Depression's a big one.
So you're looking to get those related. It's different from, residuals from secondary. Secondary is something that's active with the primary disability. So radiculopathy we talked about with the lumbar spine. Those are two separate ratings. But if you're having these problems as a result of whatever that primary problem was, and the primary problem, goes away, let's say, then you should make sure you focus on the residuals. Okay, so lymphoma, that can be kind of a hard one, but what we see a lot is fatigue.
Fatigue, yes.
Fatigue. So
depression. Anybody who's had cancer, they're wondering when's it coming back.
Yeah.
And that is a big claim for depression.
Yeah. I'd say, we talked about the gunshot wound earlier, which is kind of mind-boggling that they didn't rate it, but you could have secondary problems with that. They should rate the muscle injuries, and that would be considered part of the gunshot wounds. But even if that goes away, you could have, a foot drop or something because it went through a nerve in your quad.
Plus PTSD.
Plus PTSD. So there, just think about when you get a disease, it's not just what the disease title is, what the diagnosis is, but what are the symptoms it causes. And the symptoms could be wide ranging. Like Carol said, you got a physical injury, yet you have a mental health problem because of it. So
what's changed now from before I had cancer? How am I different? Okay.
That was a great ending question.
It
made me think to where I am gelatinous in the brain now. So thank you all. Thanks for coming. We appreciate all your questions. We're glad to see from some of y'all that that this is helping. You know.
And I'm going to go show Matt what a lanai looks like.
So
Have a good week.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Bye.
Jeez. All right.